guys, and welcome back to Marvel Hub. This is the Gaming Revolution here, and today I'm going to be explaining the first 10 minutes of Avengers Endgame. Now, we did do a full video of the entire plot for Avengers Endgame. If you want to check that out, I will have a link to it down in the description as well as the comment section down below. But this is just going to be the very first 10 minutes. So obviously, a spoiler warning if you have not seen the movie yet and you want to wait to see it for yourself, then by all means click off this video. However, if you're intrigued to see spoilers before you go and see the movie, this is what happens within the first 10 minutes. So apparently the first scene is Hawkeye losing his family to the snap. He doesn't actually see it happen as he is facing the other direction. We then get to see the Toni / Nebula sequence where they're playing paper football. This was obviously leaked a while ago. We did make a more in-depth video surrounding the opening sequence that was shown at a Disney shareholder conference, and people have already leaked that opening sequence. And after this, Toni records his message to Pepper.
That'll be it. When I drift off, I will dream about you. It's always you.
After Toni records his message, it shows flashbacks to the last 22 days with Nebula, and she heals his stab wound there from Infinity War. When he falls asleep in his ship, Nebula takes him to the front of the ship and sits him in the pilot's seat. He wakes up and sees something glowing outside the window. Captain Marvel shows up. Captain Marvel brings the ship back to Earth. The post-credit scene that we see at the end of Captain Marvel is not shown again, as that happened before this rescue of Tony Stark. Everyone from the Captain Marvel post-credit scene plus Pepper is waiting there, all come out to greet him, and Tony is in a bad shape. Tony is very shaken, particularly about losing Peter. Tony and Captain America fight. They argue because Tony blames Captain America for the events that happened in Civil War. The movie starts with the Avengers trying to find Thanos. Steve wasn't to know where Thanos is and asks Tony, but Tony says he doesn't know. They argue. Nebula knows of Thanos' garden. He said he would once go to when he completed his goal. They found him because of the energy he released using the gauntlet. They then go and fly to fight Thanos. Thanos is alone. He used the gauntlet to destroy the stones. He is weak, and Thor, angry, decapitates him. However, they know that they lost because Thanos did manage to do the snap and 50% of the population was lost. And this is referred to as happening 2 days ago. So that's apparently the opening to the movie. It could be a lot better described, but that's a rough explanation of what happens. Now, this is apparently when the title card plays, where we see the Marvel logo and stuff like that, and the Avengers Endgame logo will show up. The leaked footage has already shown this, but obviously I can't show it within this video due to obvious copyright reasons. And then it says on screen 5 years later. So from here we see Carol say she must go to another planet and won't be back for a little while. Steve and Nat talk about how the Avengers are family, so Tony and Pepper actually marry and they have a kid during this 5-year period. The kid is around 5 when the events pick up again within Endgame since Infinity War. Now, during this 5-year period, Thor establishes a Fisher town for the remaining Asgardians, including Valkyrie. During this time, he becomes depressed and he becomes a drunk with a dad beer body. So he essentially puts on a load of weight. During this time, Rhodey searches for Hawkeye, who goes on a killing spree for every villain out there around the world. During this time, Steve has a support group and Nat holds the fort in the Avengers facility. They tell each other that they have to move on but can't. Okoye runs things in Wakanda. Steve has a support group. Now obviously Scott was trapped within the quantum realm, as we see within the Ant-Man and the Wasp post-credit scene where they dissipate. Well, his van ends up getting stored in a facility and he manages to come back when a rat runs over the control panel that Hope couldn't press anymore because she was dusted from the snap. For him, only 5 hours passed. He is now locked inside the cage but starts waving at the security cameras. A guard lets him out and he is walking the streets confused as to why everything is so overgrown and run down. He finds a memorial which lists the names of the missing on large stones. He starts reading them, panicking that Cassie might be listed on them, but she isn't. However, he reunites with Cassie. Scott drives to the Avengers facility and Nat and Steve let him in, and he tells them about the quantum realm and how they might be able to build a time machine to go back to the past before everything happened. They visit Tony, but he doesn't want to help. He's happy with the way that his life is. They leave and to visit Bruce, who who is now Professor Hulk. Now, before he becomes Professor Hulk, there is a 5-year time jump, and this is where he learns how to become Professor Hulk in those 5 years. It's the best of both worlds for him, and he loves it. So Professor Hulk is obviously the combination of Bruce Banner and also Hulk's personality as one, and he manages to finally control the Hulk. And apparently when he becomes Professor Hulk, he's not able to revert back to Bruce Banner. But he goes on to say that the plan becomes to start looking for the gems in the past. Scott figures they can't fix things with time travel. No alternate dimensions come into play, though they're mentioned. Tony doesn't want to help first because he doesn't want to lose what he built in the last 5 years, which is obviously the fact that he got married to Pepper and has had a kid, and this is finally his time where he's been able to spend time for himself, and he's had to not worry about any wars or world danger. He's finally been able to build a life for himself. Bruce then works on the time travel alone because Stark refuses to help for this reason. In the facility, Scott is testing the suit. He gets turned into an old man, a baby, and a kid. It doesn't work. Tony refuses to help at this point, however, eventually returns Captain America's shield and they make up. Then Tony arrives and agrees to help, but only if the last 5 years remain untouched, and they are. He tweaks Banner's quantum machine. The catch is that they need quantum particles for it to work. They are never reversed. He brings the bracelets, which stabilizes the time traveling. They start recruiting the rest of the team, including Thor in his Fisher town. Rocket and Banner go there to collect him, who is drinking and playing video games with Korg and Make. Funny joke involving an online video game troll. Natasha goes to Japan to get Clint and tells him they have a chance. He asks her not to give him hope. She says she's sorry for not being able to do it before. He is mourning his family and is not certain of the plan. Finally, the team then all suit up and discuss their plans to get the stones. They make it clear that they cannot mess it up because there is only enough quantum particles for one trip for each of them. Clint is the first to test the suit. He goes to his farm. He wants to go see his family, but is yanked back before he can. They go after these stones. So there you go. That is the end of the first 10 minutes. As I said, if you want to just watch the full plot for Avengers Endgame, there will be a link in this video's description. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not for latest and greatest Marvel news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.